All right, so in this tutorial, what I'm going to do is just cover how to make a read more, which basically looks like this. So click on that. It looks like this. It'll say, I have the most amazing thing to tell you. If you just read this paragraph. Oops, there we go. Sucker, that is all. Okay. So basically, it's a thing to add to read more, right? So you often see those. It'll have like an article, and if you click on this, it'll read more. But it's good for like an ad or something, especially if you're trying to truncate. Obviously, this isn't a lot of text, but if it was a lot of text, you could start with it and then click on this to, continue it. So works pretty well for that regard. That's basically what we're going to make, and we're going to use JavaScript to do it. So let's do it. All right, so hopefully you can see in here, and maybe you can just watch the beginning of the video and say, screw the rest of it. But if you look at here, you can see that basically this is the HTML code, this is the CSS, there's not a lot in it, and this is the JavaScript. So this one's actually relatively simple, especially compared to the other ones. And here I kind of explain it. So he says like P, it's the text that's there, right? And then I have span dots, it's the span that has the dots, and so on and so forth. So you should theoretically be able to kind of decipher what's happening here versus here. But basically you would put this into the body of your HTML. You put this into the style. You can make a separate style sheet, or you can embed it in the head. And then you can either put this in a script, or you can put this again in a separate script document. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make this, and then you can kind of see it, right? So this is the read more. So let's just go ahead and make one. All right, let's exit out of that. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this bit here. Okay, so let's take this out too. All right, and I'm just going to write some stuff in here, and then we'll go from there. So so we'll just say, all right, we'll just say here is a, I'm just going to do lorem ipsum, so it's a little bit easier. So let's do ellipsum, okay, and generate, oops, thank you, generate lorem ipsum, and we'll just copy one section, Command C, and put you back on there. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some lipsum in here. That way I got a bunch of text. I'm going to go view and toggle word wrap. Beautiful. Okay, so I've got a bit of text, and now I need to do is create some spans and things. And I'm going to also put my style in here, so I can put some style in there if I should need it. All right, because we all need a little style. All right, let's undo that. All right. Okay, so what I need to do is have where I want the paragraph to get cut off, right? So we'll say probably right about here, we'll say, is enough to start doing the dots. All right, so I need to do a span that's going to just contain the dots. So we'll do a space first, and then I'll do span. And we're going to give it an ID. And I'm just going to call it the dots. All right, so that way I have a way of selecting it. Then I'll actually put the physical dots in there, 1, 2, 3. And good, so that will be this. So basically it's just, when you see it, you'll see this and just the dots until you click read more, and then I'll turn this one off when we click on the read more. This will go away. But when this is not visible, this will be visible, and when this is not visible, this will be visible. Right? So basically turning those on and off. Okay. So now what we need to do is after that, because it's going to be the dots, we need to go ahead and put the read more in there. So it's going to be another span, and we're going to do an ID again, and this one's just going to be called, let's call it more. We're going to read more, okay? And inside of that text, we're just going to say, let me see. Oh, sorry, what am I doing here? So it's going to be more. This is going to be the section that we read that is more. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and put this here. Okay. So basically, this will hold the dots, and then this one is the hidden one. So when we need to hide this, we have a span, an ID that has this in it. So I could turn this one on and off, and then we have something to put this on and off. And this part's always on. So that's the idea. So basically, I broke this into, this chunk's always there, but we broke this into one chunk and this into one chunk using the span. All right, and if you remember, span is like a div, but it's inline, which means it won't start on a new line. That way it'll all look as like one big button, okay, or one big paragraph. Now what we're going to do is we need to make a button. All right, so it's going to be a button, and we're going to do on click So when you click on it, we're going to have a read more function. All right, that's what it's going to do when you click on it. It's going to do that, and we're going to have an ID so that we can select this button. And we're just going to call it the RM, read more BTN button. Okay, just needs a name, and then we'll just put read more. So that's this is going to be the actual physical button that we'll click on. Let's just see what this looks like so far. So where are you? So this is what it looks like so far, and so we have a read more button, but it doesn't do anything because we haven't actually attached any code to it quite yet. All right, so now we got the HTML, that's all good. And what we need to do now is I need to make it so the default of this more is off, because right now you can see, where is it? Okay, see the dots, right? But then after this is the read more. So this part should be invisible to start with. So that's what we got to do next. So up here, we're just going to go, we need to target the more section, because that's this section right here. Why is that red? Oh, because I just started the hashtag. Okay, and it's just going to be more. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to do display. And we're going to say none. Okay, so basically we're just going to turn it off. So now if we save that, see, now it has nothing but this. So this section is now turned off by default until we turn it on using JavaScript. All right, now we can add our JavaScript. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the function that when we click, it's going to run this function called read more function. Right now, there's no script that does that. So I'm going to make that function now. So it's function. That's the name of it. It's going to be called read more function. I don't know why I called it read more function. That's kind of a dumb name. And so we're not going to send in any information. So it's empty parameters. It's just a function that runs. It doesn't need anything sent to it. And this is what's going to run in it. So first of all, we're going to need a variable dots that's going to hold the actual dots up here. So we need to find that. So we're going to go document dot get element by ID. And the element we need to look for is dots. Okay, good. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to find any elements with the ID dots on it, and it's going to store it in there. So basically it's going to allow me to get access to this through this variable called dots. All right, and we're going to need to make another one for the more text. Okay, and that's going to be document.get element by ID again, and this time we're going to be looking for the more section. Oops, I want to do quotes. More. The more section. Okay, so if you remember right here again, so that's how I'm going to be able to get access to this. And then the last thing I need to be able to get is the button, because we're going to have a button that says read more, but then we have to have one that says read less or something. Okay, so when we click on it and it expands this button, the content in it, where it says read more, I want to make it read less. So I need to be able to have access to that too. So literally it's going to be the same thing again. I'm just going to copy and paste it this time. Just need to be able to get access to all the things. So instead of more text, it's going to be button text, BTN text, and it's not this. It's it's RMBTN, right? So it's the read more button. So that's how we're going to get access to this. So we have a way of getting all three of them, and they're all being stored basically in these variables so that we can get to them. Now we need to do is make a test. So we're going to say if the dots dot style. So if this element, the style of it, and in that style, so if you look, it's almost like a folder structure. So dots is obviously the element as a whole, and then we're going to say in the style of that, right? So in the style of that, and then inside the style of that is going to be display. So the display of this style, and the style is obviously part of this. So it's like we're moving down the hierarchy, okay? So we're going to say if that style.display is equal to none, meaning it's not visible, okay, we are going to run this function, and it's going to be dots.style.display. We're going to make it equal to, or we're going to assign it the value of inline. So basically what we're going to do is that if the dots are not on, turn them on. Okay. Besides that, we're also going to do this. We're going to do btn text.inner HTML. Did I do that right? Inner HTML? Yeah, it looks right. And we're going to give that the value of, oops, read more. Okay. And then we're going to do the last one, the more text.style.display. And we're going to set this one equal to none. Okay. So basically we're going to say, when you click this button, what it's going to do, it's going to go, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to store all these elements that we need to control into the variables. Then it's going to say, okay, if the dot style is display, if it's none, right? So by default, it's actually on. So this will not be true. But if it was set to none, then what you're going to want to do is basically turn the dots on. So imagine that this is off right now. It's going to turn that on. It's going to put on the read more, right? So it's actually basically what it's set up for right now. And it's going to turn this text off. So it's going to flip everything. And then what we're going to do after this if is we have to do an else. So if that's not true, this is what it's going to do. It's going to go ahead and basically, I'm just going to go ahead and copy, come on. Okay, I'm going to copy this here. Command C, Command V. Let's delete. Okay, let's get rid of you. Okay, and we're just going to do the opposite. So this one's going to become none. None. This one will become inline. And this one will be read less. Because we shall read a little less. Okay, so basically it's going to be this or this. One of these two is going to be true. So basically, again, we're going to click the button. It's going to store all those things. It's going to say, okay, are the dots visible? If they're not visible when you clicked on this, then make them visible. And then basically it's going to toggle these things to on and off, and these ones on and off. So it's going to switch between the two, if that makes sense. And then we'll just save it. And if I go over here and hit read more, oops, Command R, sorry. Hit read more, and it's not working. Let's double check, see what's going on. Function, read more function. Okay, so Command S. All right, so I figured out what the problem was, and this is a good example. So if you look, I just want to show you this. I'm saving it, refresh it, doesn't work. This is where it was. Dots.sty. I gotta do dot style. Just two L's. That's it. Watch. Command S, Command R. Okay, and gotta get rid of this. Hang on a second. Wait a minute, I'm missing something here. I think Command Y. All right, style. Let's get rid of that, and then I need to take this guy. Put this. I accidentally got rid of one part here. So, but. Read more. Okay. Command S. Command R. Read more. What do I do now? Read more. Oh, still missing that one. Command S. Command R. Okay. So there you go. But you can see that it's something as simple as just missing an L made it not work. Now, one of the things I ended up doing, just might be a good lesson, is I actually ended up doing this. I commented out the stuff because I was trying to figure out where it wasn't working. And what I ended up doing instead is inside of one of these, I did document.write. That's what you saw earlier. And I just had like else working. Okay. And we'll just put, so just let me know that else is working. And I'm going to put the same thing here, document.write. And we'll do if working, okay? Boom, and I did save, and then when I hit read more, whoops, gotta refresh it. All right, I'm able to see whether they're working or not, because this should at least read. Oh, you know why it's not working? Don't have a closing thing. All right, Command R. Oh, why are you not? Command S. Command R. Oh, that's still not working. But I'm able to test to see if the stuff is working or not just by doing that. So sometimes it's good to use the document.write because then you can hopefully find out where the issue is. So let's save that. All right. But just make sure you don't have any small little errors like I did. It didn't take a lot, obviously. But there you go. So that's how you would do read more. These are pretty useful just to generally put inside of stuff. It's good for responsive layouts because you know, a lot of times you're working in a very truncated space because it's mobile. So you could give them a tidbit, and then if they want to read more, you can have that button. So yeah, you should be able to follow that. Hopefully you can just follow the actual site itself, and it should be relatively easy. All right, go team.